Everybody, give it a second here. There we go. Hello, everybody. Hope you are doing well today. Welcome to Speaker Spotlight. For those I have not met before, my name is Lori, and I am a business and personal brand success coach and the founder of the Zennial Traveler Coaching and Marketing Agency. I work with freedom loving coaches, consultants, and strategists to grow and scale sustainable, location independent businesses and personal brands through authentic and aligned strategies. Whether you are in startup or scaling mode, if you are ready for business, sales, and marketing strategies that will sustain you long term so that you never need to look back in that rearview mirror again, you're in the right place. And today I am joined by Reethu George, a lawyer turned life coach and founder of Clarity Brew. Welcome, Reethu, and I'm so excited to have you here.
So excited to be here.
So, um, I know we were talking a little bit before we started here, but lawyer turned life coach, that's a big transition. So I would love to just hear a little bit more about you and your story before we dive into today's topic of business planning.
Yeah, sure. So, like Laurie mentioned, I am the founder of Clarity Brew. So, what I do is I help women who are feeling confused about their future. I help them gain clarity. So, women who are feeling stuck and don't really know what their next step should be, whether that be in life or business, I help them get unstuck. I help them gain clarity and direction in life. So that's what I do. And I know it's like a huge jump from being a corporate lawyer to life coaching. And this is a question that I get a lot. So I was a corporate lawyer. I worked at EY, and I think a lot of us go through this right now. We're working the 9 to 5, and you get to a point where you're thinking, why am I really doing this? So for
Mm-hmm.
me, that thought came when COVID hit. So COVID hit, and I had to move back home, and I was working from home. So I was doing this for 12 hours straight. I was working from 10 to on 10, almost 10 in the night. And I was just like, what am I doing? I'm just sitting in front of the laptop. I'm reviewing contracts and negotiating with suppliers, but what am I actually doing? It didn't feel fulfilling. Yes, the money was great, but other than that, in terms of freedom, in terms of the lifestyle I wanted to build, and in general, just being happy and fulfilled, it wasn't what I wanted. And when I thought about it, it wasn't where I saw myself for the next 5 or 10 years. So I decided that I would quit my job. So what happened was that I was getting married. I got married in November 2020. So right before that, and I had to shift to another city. So I decided that maybe this would be the right time for me to kind of start
Mm-hmm.
over, to build new things. So I decided that I'm going to take a break from work right now. So I'm going to quit my job, and that's what I did. I quit my job. I took a break, and I thought I just gave it time. I decided I'm going to think about it. I took a break for some time. I didn't think about anything else, and then I started researching on what I could do next. And I knew because of the experience that I had in the corporate world, I knew I didn't really want to do a 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Whatever legal job that you're going for, it's going always going to be a 12-hour job, even though it says on contract that it's going to
Mm-hmm.
be a 6-hour job, a 7-hour job. It never happens. It's always like a 9 to 12-hour job, and I knew that's not something that I wanted to do. So I thought about what I wanted to do next, and what I really wanted, and I figured out that I wanted that balance. I wanted that work-life balance. I wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
serve someone. At that time, I didn't really decide that it was women, but then I wanted to serve, like make a difference in whatever I was
Mm-hmm.
doing. So these questions kind of led me to thinking what I could do next. And I have a master's degree. I studied in the University of Queensland, and there did a course on conflict coaching, and that's where I came across the concept of coaching.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought maybe I could do something along those lines. And when I started researching about how I could run a business doing conflict coaching, I came across the concept of life coaching, and it really intrigued me. And so I decided that I would do a certification in life coaching. And yeah, things just one thing led to another. And yeah, today I'm a life coach,
Yeah,
completely.
so lawyer turned life
Yeah.
coach. Okay, well, I think that's actually a really great segue into our topic, right? Because as you said, it's in the name of your business, Clarity Brew,
Yeah.
and we're going to talk about clarity and business planning and being able to, to have those things in your life and in your business, right? So this is good because you found your clarity, right? So let's talk a little bit about clarity. So where do you start when it comes to this process of clarity?
um so I so let me I'm going to speak from my personal experience. So
Mhm,
if it's
absolutely.
with regard to um whatever it is, it start with self reflection. So what is it that you really want? Like what is your um
Mhm,
what what is your purpose or what is your why? So if it's with respect to your business, understanding what your why is really important
mhm,
because it helps with a lot of things. For me, it was understanding what my why is that helped me figure out what I wanted to do. Because I asked myself these questions like, what do I really want? Like, who do I want to help? And
mhm,
when I thought about what I really want, what I want out of a career, it gave me answers like, okay, I want a certain kind of lifestyle. I want
mhm.
this work life balance, and I want to be my own boss. So that meant that, okay, I should try something with entrepreneurship, but at the same time something that didn't really need a lot of my time. Like I could set my
Mhm.
own timings. And then who do I want to help? And then that question led to the answer that, okay, I want to help women. So asking yourself really self-reflective questions, understanding your why, will really help you get a little bit more clarity as to what you want to do, whether that's in your business or in your life in general.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more with you. And this is actually like with all of my clients, actually, the whole like concept of defining your why is where I start with all of them, even people who've been in business for a while, because they either a lot of times skip that step, and then they're wondering like why they're not feeling fulfilled, why they aren't getting results, or they forget. They establish their why, and you get kind of far away from that. I've actually found recently, myself sometimes forgetting what my why was in the first place, and that's something that we're always going to come back to remind ourselves of why we're doing this, and like you said, who we're here to help, which is first and foremost ourselves, of course, but then other people. And it's kind of like become a cliche thing, like know your why, but it is really
But
important, right? It is.
it is. And it helps to know your why, because there are going to be so many times during business when things will probably not go your way, but getting back to your why and knowing why you started in the first place will kind of help um, help things along the journey.
Yeah, so yeah, they definitely help you along the journey and help you to gain that focus, right? And bring a little bit of structure around the business. Um, so it might seem a bit woo woo, yeah, when people are like, oh, define your why. But I don't know about you, but for me, and for a lot of my clients, and I'm sure yours too, actually being able to understand and define that why is what helps you to then go out and say, okay, now I'm able to structure my business a certain
Yeah.
way, because
Yeah.
you're able to establish it around the life that you want. Like in your case, you
Yeah.
said you don't want to be working 10 to 10. You want to be able to have something more flexible. um, so if you just set your business up the way someone else tells you to, without really keeping in mind why you're doing it,
Yeah.
right? You kind of lose sight of that. So, okay.
And understanding who you want to help also helps with like your target audience. Like you help
Mhm.
it helps you figure out like who exactly your target audience is, and like um, figure out like what their pain points are, what who you really want to help, what issues you really want to solve.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And doing it really, you have to start with your why in order to ever get to that and to be able to
Yeah.
do like the market research and
Yeah.
stuff around your ideal audience. Absolutely. Um, so a lot of people, they're just starting out, right? And or they're established, but they've skipped this step. Um, so it really does come back to also goal setting too, right? I know
Yeah.
we touched on this a little bit, but how do people, they let's say they get their why, right? They're like, okay, I know why I'm here, I know why I'm doing this. How do they take that and make it actionable?
For people who are just starting out, first I would say start with your basics first, like figuring out your why, what your
Mhm,
vision is, your target audience, understanding their pain points, their needs, their
mhm,
wants, and of course, like what services you're going to offer to solve those pain points, and how you're going to structure your services, and how you're going to price it, and how you're going to offer it, and all of that. So that's like the basic thing that you should figure out before you move forward. But once you have that figured out,
mhm,
with goal setting, I would say start with your long term goal. Understand, say, in the next 1 year or next 2 years, have an idea of where you want to go. Where do you see
mhm.
this business going, or where do you hope to have this business go? Like, what direction do you want it to
Yeah.
head? Because if you don't really have a vision for where you want it to head, then what are you really working on right now? Because
Right.
what's your end goal, what's your end game? So you should figure out your long-term goals. So just to make it easy, let's say it's going to be for the next 1 year. So
Mhm,
figure out what goals you want to achieve by the end of the year. And once you have clarity on what your long-term goal is, you can start setting short-term goals. So you can start working backwards and make
mhm,
progressively smaller goals. So once you have your 12-month goal, you can break that down into 6-month goals.
mhm,
What do you need to do in 6 months to get to that 12-month goal, and then break that 6-month goal down into like goals for the quarter, and then that will help you easily set goals for each month as well. And having monthly goals is like really helpful, because when you have your monthly goal, you're able to break that down into weekly goals. And
mhm.
your weekly goals, knowing what your weekly goal is, will help you work on understand what you need to
Yeah.
work on a day-to-day basis. So you're with that long-term goal, you're able to understand what do I need to do now, or what's the first step that I need to take right now. How do and create your day-to-day list for what you need to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I use and teach a very similar process. So I couldn't agree with you more. It's about establishing, I like to say like establish, of course your why, and then like, your 1, 3, 5 year, like your big goals, right? And then like you said, you work backwards. And I think a lot of people are just like, okay, I want to make $1 million or whatever it is. And it's like they have no idea what they're doing and they're just like throwing spaghetti at a wall trying to figure it out instead of making a solid plan to actually go out and achieve it, so that when they don't, then they feel like they have nothing to measure against. They aren't able to really see the progress that they've made because they didn't have a plan in place to actually get there. I don't know if you experience that as well.
Yeah, same with my clients. So they a lot of them know what their end goal is, but they don't know where to start, and they feel overwhelmed because they know there's a lot to do, but they really don't know what they need to do to get started. So really. having clarity on that long term goal and then breaking those goals down, it sounds really simple, but it's very effective. And
Yeah.
it's going to give you like structure, and it's going to give you that focus and direction and clarity.
Yeah, exactly. And it, like you said, it sounds simple, but when you're actually doing it, it isn't. It makes life simple for you
Yeah,
and your business simple. But sometimes doing that initial work can be a bit overwhelming for people. But at the same time, when you're able to break it down, like you said, into monthly and then weekly goals, then you can even take your weekly goals, and then it allows you to set, like
yeah,
pick your one or two things that you want to focus in on every day, and it makes it very simple for you to actually get there and see progress. Because then you may, be a few months in and like, well, I don't have $1 million yet, I failed. But when you have these processes in place, you're able to say, okay, I haven't failed because
yeah,
I've done all of these things. You're able to look back at all the things you have achieved. And I think people get so focused on the big goal and not achieving that they forget to recognize how far they've come in their journey and what they've all done. So not only does doing breaking it down help you to be able to achieve it faster, it helps you to be able to recognize your progress.
yeah,
And I
exactly.
don't know, for me, being able to be okay with where we're at and recognize where we're at is a good thing, is part of that process as well. And this, setting these goals really does help us to do that. So how
And
do they
like you said,
then? Oh,
knowing
go
your
ahead.
progress, sorry,
No, no, go
knowing
ahead.
knowing your progress, like tracking your progress is really important. Like it's it helps you not just celebrate your wins, but really helps you see how far you've come. And also
Hmm.
like think about and look back at what's working and what's not, because sometimes we set goals and we're working on something, and even when we're not seeing the results, we just keep doing it because we're just going with the flow. But checking in is so important, because it's when you check in that you realize that okay, maybe some processes are not working for me,
Hmm.
some things are not working. And then when you figure out what's not working, you can think about how, okay, how can I make that work? Do I need to let that go and work on something else, or is there some way I can tweak that process to make it more efficient? So tracking your progress and checking in on your goals is also really important, along with setting goals.
Yeah, agreed. So what tips do you have to, I want to talk about this because I think that people set a lot of goals for themselves, right? And then it's easy to get off track.
Yeah.
So how do people stay on track to actually be able to make sure that they're consistently, working on these goals and they're not getting derailed?
Um, so one thing I would say is when you're setting goals, like have know exactly what you want to do on a day to day basis. I think
Mhm.
it's often on a day to day basis that we kind of get carried away, or when we don't know what we need to do on a day to day basis,
Mhm,
we
mhm,
kind of procrastinate, or we tend to focus on other things and we get distracted. So knowing setting down the tasks that you need to do on a day-to-day basis really helps, and it helps me on
mhm,
like even from like a personal point of view, it really helps me. So something that I usually do is and I've read a lot of articles that suggest this method. So either the night before, or like
mhm,
in the morning, um, decide, list down the things that you want to do in that particular day. Think about how long that how
mhm,
long you're going to work that particular day. So if it's 3 hours or 4 hours, it's important to know how long you're working, because then you can set realistic goals for yourself for the day.
absolutely.
Because a lot of the times we just like cramp our day up with like ten action items that we need to do,
Yeah.
and we think this day is going to be super productive for me, but we end up doing like 3 or 4 of the list. And in the end, we feel bad that we were not able to do all
Mhm,
10. But to begin with, it was probably not realistic. So understanding how long you're going to work in a day, and then setting action items accordingly. And you can also like once you start working, you
mhm,
know how relatively how much time each task is going to take, so you can like plan your day accordingly. So that's something that sort of helps me stay consistent. And also having like an accountability partner. So this can
Yeah.
be like maybe like a business, someone who's in the business, who's a really
Hmm.
close friend, or someone who can help you, or maybe an expert like a coach, someone who
Hmm.
can sit with you and give you that time and make sure check in with you. So having an accountability partner also really helps with staying
Yeah,
consistent.
that's so important. I think when people are going at this alone, they think, well, I can do this, I can do this,
Yeah,
but then you don't have anybody to hold you accountable.
yeah,
So, and yeah,
exactly.
like a coach is a paid accountability partner,
Yeah,
right? They are going to show up and they are going to be there for you because you're paying them to be.
yeah,
So it's always one of the most effective ways to do that. But even if you don't feel like you're in a position to invest in a coach, like you said, this could be somebody who's not even necessarily doing the exact same thing as you, but another entrepreneur.
yeah,
Um, I don't know about you, but I always recommend that it's not like your sister or your mom or your best friend, but it's someone who understands what you're actually
yeah,
going through and that also needs to be held accountable, because then they have more skin in the game. I don't know if
yeah,
that's a saying in the US, but basically, that they're more
yeah.
vested in wanting to see results as well and
So
picking
that's
wisely.
something a lot of my clients have told me, like when we speak and when you're setting goals and checking in. Like I've had clients tell me that I'm so glad I have someone to talk to, because my partner or like my best friend or my mom, they're not uh, they will listen to me, but they're not super interested and they don't understand what I'm doing, and they're not really
Mhm.
invested to like sit with me and um, make sure I'm hitting my goals or set goals with me. So that it makes a huge difference when you have someone to really guide you and support you through that whole process.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think for me, it's why I'm here. Like my business coach, that I work, well, actually now I work with her. I just work with her in a different capacity. She does copywriting, but my business coach at the time, like if it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't have done the things that I did, and I wouldn't be here today. So
Yeah.
it is really, really powerful to have that support. So let's say someone they're really new in this process. Like, what would be kind of like the one thing that you would tell people, like, do this first, do this now, like this is your first step of action?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, like what is like the one word, like words of wisdom, like if you had to give people one piece of advice, that people that are new to this, what would that be?
I would say just believe in yourself. I think don't doubt yourself. At least for me, when I started, I this is the first like I'm not from a business family, like no one from my
Mhm.
family,
Yeah.
none of them are entrepreneurs, so I haven't really seen anyone uh, do a business, or I haven't
Hmm.
learned from anyone. So when I started this, I was doubting myself. Like I knew I wanted to do this, but I did not know if I had it in me. And really believing in yourself gives you
Hmm.
so much power, because when you believe that you can do it, you actually put in an effort and make an effort to learn things and
Hmm.
do things and take action. So I would say, um yeah, believe in yourself. That would be my words of wisdom.
Yeah, I could not agree with you more on that. It's a big piece of the puzzle. Is when you believe in what you're doing and in yourself, that's when it actually starts to happen. If you're doubting yourself, you're going to hold yourself back from
Yeah,
all of that potential that you might have, and the gifts that you have to share with the world. So don't let any outside influence tell you that you can't do something or that you're doing it wrong. Like, you have
yeah.
to believe in yourself. Absolutely. Could not agree with you more there. Oh, well, thank you. This has been wonderful. We're getting to that point. So if people want to connect with you, what is the best place to do that?
They can reach out to me on Instagram. I'm most active on Instagram. My handle is at Clarity Brew Coaching. So you can reach out to me there if you want to connect with me. Send me a DM, and I also post. I regularly post content on goal setting, productivity, time management. So yeah, you can follow me there for content on things personal growth.
Love it, love it. And I do recommend that you guys do connect with Reethu and that you follow her to get all of those tips, because in entrepreneurship, goals, accountability, focus, these are the things that are really going to help hold you accountable and get you to that end goal of where you want to be. So thank you so much for being here today. This has been lovely.
Yeah, I
Um,
can't believe it's almost half an hour
I
already.
know, I know. I'm like, I think as I told you when we started, I'm like, this is something I'm really passionate about myself. So I think I could talk for hours with you on this. And so yeah, it's such a like topic for me. So awesome. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in today. And for those of you that are ready to create a sustainable strategy for your business and a steady flow of consistent clients, so you can have a business you love that also supports that remote based freedom lifestyle you desire. Stop going at it alone. Go ahead, reach out to me, my team. Let's chat about how we can help you get there faster with more confidence, less sleazy sales, and in a way that is authentically you. Thank you, Reethu, again for being here. Thank you guys for tuning in. And I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.